शुक्र खुदा में रज़वी हो।
Allah Almighty commands us in the Holy Quran and tells us as believers we must be with those who are on the path of righteousness. We must be with the truthful people. And this command is for who? For those who fear Allah. This command is for those who fear Almighty Allah, that you hold firm to those who are on haqq. And you do not look for your own facilities in life. You look for that which is facilitated by the deen of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So we have been commanded by saying, and almost every Jummah I read this ayat in my khutbah, and I do this not because there is nothing else to read, but this is the ayat that my murshid used to read the most. And it gives you a very strong reminder, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah, O believers, fear Allah. O believers, fear Allah. The reason that we are facing so many difficulties in our lives today, both you and I, is because we do not really fear the way we should fear. If we truly fear Allah, then we will not move one bit, one zarra, one hair's breadth away from the command of Allah and His beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The reason that people start diverting and deviating is because we lack the fear of Allah. And Allah is commanding you so many places in the Holy Quran about fearing Him. He is commanding us in so many places. But as Sayyidi Sarkar Ala Hazrat Radi Allahu Anhu said, Shab subh tak sona tujhe, din lauh mein khona tujhe. Sharme Nabi, khaufe Khuda, ye bhi nahi, wo bhi nahi. Nor do we have any fear in the court of Allah, nor do we have any modesty in the court of our Nabi. And it is this which is the cause of all the taklif that we are having in our lives. Because we have forgotten what is our primary duty. We have forgotten what is our primary responsibility. Our primary duty on this earth is to worship Allah. Is to worship Allah. That Allah who is telling you, fear me. But people will not perform their salah in that time of fard, and they will go do something else because of dunya, and we still say we fear Allah. And Allah is commanding you that when you fear me, O you who believe, fear Allah. What is the meaning of fear? What is the meaning of fear? Fear translates to taqwa. Fear translates, when we say somebody is pious, what do we mean that he is pious? Fear translates to piety. But what do we say when we say this man is pious, this woman is pious? What is piety? What is piety? You say this is a very pious person. Why? Because he reads many salah? Because he gives a lot of charity? Why? Why do you say that somebody is pious? Why is somebody is regarded as pious? The piety translates to fear of Allah. A pious man is one who fears Allah. Because if you do not fear Allah, how can you be pious? And that is why Allah has commanded us to fear Him. And in that He says that we should keep the company of righteous people. We should keep the company of pious people. So in every generation, from the very beginning until this very day, there will always be pious people. Because Allah is commanding you, وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ. Until Qiyamah comes, they will always be Sadiqeen. Because that command is consistent. Be with the pious. In other words, as long as they are believers, they will be pious. There will be those who are pious. But the problem is that we leave the pious and go towards those that are taking away from piety. This is what has happened in the dunya today. Why? Because we have become slaves of the dunya. We have become slaves of the world. In every era there are these blessed personalities, these powerful beacons of guidance. But in the first era, we're the most pious people. We're the most Allah-fearing people. There is none who fears Allah more than Allah's Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no person who is more muttaqi than the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the Imam of every pious person in the universe from the beginning of time until Qiyamah. There is nobody who fears Allah more than Allah's Nabi. Because when Allah's Nabi used to perform salah and when he used to recite the Quran, when he used to make tilawat of the Quran, then the fear of Allah that used to be in the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam at that time, it sounded like a pot, a cauldron that was boiling till the time of recitations. Nobody fears Allah more than his beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in that time was the time of the most pious. Thereafter nobody feared Allah like Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. That is why he was given that position and that rank. The rank and the position that each of them received after Allah's Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was based on their taqwa. It was based on their fear for Almighty Allah. It was based on their love for Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And nobody was like that, like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And nobody will be like Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And after him, nobody was like that in piety, like Hazrat Sayyiduna Umar Farooq Radi Allahu Anhu. And after him, nobody like Usman dhul Norain. And after him, nobody like Mawla Kainat Ali Murtada Radi Allahu Anhu. And while I'm on this discussion, let me tell you, for those who try to use the name of Mawla Ali to slander the rest of the Sahaba Ikram, he who does not love any Sahabi and he who slanders any Sahabi has nothing to do with Mawla Ali radiallahu ta'ala. These are the truly pious. These are the truly Allah-fearing. Hazrat Sayyiduna Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu, Allahu Akbar. He is that blessed personality whose piety and his righteousness to differentiate between haq and batil, to make the farq. That is why he's Farooq. To make the distinction between these things, earned him that title of Farooq. It earned him that title. He was that blessed personality who personally and publicly announced his Islam when he accepted it, without any fear or favor. Publicly, at a time when the kuffar in Makkah would persecute and execute those who said La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. When Umar Farooq accepted Islam, he said, no more performing namaz in private, let's go to the haram. Umar has entered the deen of Allah. Umar has entered the deen of Allah. This was Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala. We all know that before he accepted Islam, he was the harshest critic. We know that, isn't it? Before he accepted Islam, he was the harshest critic of Islam. But when the dua of the beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam struck the heart of Umar, when the dua of the beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam struck the heart of Umar, then the harshest critic became the greatest ashik. He became an ashik, he was no more a critic. He was in love with the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam to a degree that you cannot understand, I cannot understand. He went with a sword saying, today I am going to end the chapter of Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but he didn't realize that Muhammad Rasulullah was opening the first chapter of his life. Was opening the first chapter of his life. The life of Hazrat Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu, as the critic was now ending, and the new chapter of the Ashik was starting. That was Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu. He became Umar, he became Farooq because of the Zuban of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam made dua, oh Allah, grant strength to Islam, either through Umar Farooq or through Abu Jahl, through one of the two of them. And Allah chose Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu. This deen got its status and this maqam at that time. The strength that was given to this deen was through the entrance of Hazrat Sayyiduna Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu. That is why the beloved Nabi made that dua for his strength. The beloved Nabi knew it will be Umar. But we do not want to go too deep into that discussion. But this is that same Umar, that when shaitan would see him, he crossed the path. He left the road if he saw Umar. When he saw Umar, he left the road. That Umar Farooq, Radi Allahu Anhu, everybody feared him. When they heard his name, they trembled. You talk about the Ottoman Empire and the move of Islam from the east to the west. Who was the person that planted those seeds? Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala. Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala. He formed an empire that nobody could understand would happen. From a person that came from the deserts of Arabia. But it wasn't Umar doing this. It was that Zuban of the beloved Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that said that Allah will give strength to Islam through Umar. It wasn't for that day, it was forever. And even till this day, the name of Umar Farooq gives takat to this deen. It gives takat to a Muslim. But that Umar Farooq, think about it. I want you to look at the contrast. I want you to look at the contrast. The one from whose path shaitan runs. The one that when a person holding a bottle of alcohol in his hand is walking to the holy city and he sees Umar coming, he starts to make tawbah and he says, oh Allah, save me from Umar today, I'm making tawbah. Oh Allah, I'm making tawbah. He's making so sincere tawbah, this person, that Umar is coming, if he catches me, I'm gone. And when Umar reaches him, what's in the bottle? He says milk. When he opens it, it is milk. Because his dua is accepted. His tawbah is accepted. Because of his haibat for Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala. That Umar, that is Umar. That is Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu. But look at the contrast. Hazrat Sayyiduna Yahya bin Abdullah Awza'i radiallahu anhu. Hazrat Sayyiduna Yahya bin Abdullah Awza'i radiallahu anhu says that Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anhu discreetly used to leave his home at night. That Umar, think about the contrast. Subhanallah, Subhanallah. That Umar used to discreetly leave his home at night and enter another house. He would go to that house, spend some time, come out. Went to another house. Hazrat Sayyiduna Talha radiallahu anhu was watching him one night. And he said, what is Umar up to? What is Umar up to? Getting out of his house when everybody is sleeping? Very discreetly? Chup chupake? Then going to somebody's house? What is he up to? Something special is happening here. Something I can't understand. Why would Umar do this? Why would he hide and do things? When morning came, and Sayyidina Talha radiallahu anhu saw this happening many nights. When morning came, he went to that house. He went to that house. And when he reached that house, that particular house, so that he may understand why Umar was coming there, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, why was he entering there in the darkness of night? Why was he not visiting that house in the day? He took permission and he entered the house. And what does Talha radiallahu anhu see? He says an old, frail, weak, sick woman inside that house. Very old. She was not just old, she was blind. She was not just blind, she was paralyzed. She was inside that house. She could not do anything for herself. On seeing the old woman, Hazrat Sayyiduna Talha radiallahu ta'ala asked. He asked, what can you tell me about the man that enters your house in the darkness of night? What can you tell me about the man that enters your house in the darkness of night? The woman says, he has been coming to my house every night for a long time. He has been coming to my house every night for a long time. And he comes and cleans my entire house. Umar, who shaitan runs from. Umar, who people trembled when they heard his name. That Umar is in the house of an old, paralyzed, blind woman, cleaning her house. Cleaning her house. He goes and he cleans my house every day, and he completes all my chores for me at night. In the morning, there's nothing for us to be done in our house. Hazrat Sayyiduna Radi Allahu Anhu, when he heard the response of the old woman, he looked at himself and he said, "Oh Talha, may your mother weep over you." He said, "Oh Talha, may your mother weep over you." In other words, shame upon you, Talha. What did you think Umar was going to do at night? He didn't think bad. But what did you think? "Oh Talha, may your mother weep over you." Can you too not follow the way of Umar Farooq? Look at these Sahaba Ikram. Look at how they said that because Umar did such a pious and blessed deed. But look, this is the lesson that you learn. That when they did it not for the dunya to see. Not like today, feed the poor, take photos. I'm being blunt. Feed the poor. You don't like what I say. Feed the poor, take photos. Feed the poor, video film. And let everybody see that ye gharib hai. Is this what we were taught? Is this what Umar Farooq taught? Already they are in taklif. You are trying to make them zalil. You are trying to humiliate them. Think about it for a moment. Look at the life of Umar Farooq. Look at what he used to do. Look at his way. Look at his manner. This is something that we need to think about. Let me tell you. Today we say Ameer al-Mu'mineen. Indeed. The leader of the believers. After the beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the leader of the believers, Abu Bakr Siddiq. After him, Umar Farooq. After him, Uthman Ghani. After him, Mawla Ali. Radi Allahu Anhu. This is the sequence. This is the consensus of the Sahaba on this sequence. You cannot move from it. This is the sequence. Okay? But do you know when the first time the word Amir al-Mu'mineen was used? Today it is used for Mawla Ali also. It is used for Abu Bakr Siddiq also. It is used for Hazrat Umar also. It is used for Hazrat Osman also. Do you know when the first time that this title was used? When was the first time that this title was used? Let me tell you. Hazrat Abu Bakr, what did he used to write with his name? When he, obviously when you have, he was, as Abu Bakr was the Khalifa of the time, so he was the king in inverted commas. After Rasul Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam left this physical world in the apparent form, Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq was the Khalifa, so he was in charge of everything. So when he wrote his name, he would have to write his designation as well, isn't it? He would have to write his designation as well. So what was the designation that Hazrat Abu Bakr used to write? When he wrote his name, he wrote Khalifa of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What did he write? What did he write? He wrote Khalifa of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hazrat Abu Bakr left the dunya. Hazrat Abu Bakr left the dunya. Who became the Khalifa? Hazrat Sayyiduna Umar Farooq. What Abu Bakr used to write? Khalifa of Rasulullah. What Hazrat Umar used to write? The Khalifa of Rasulullah. What Hazrat Umar used to write? He is the Khalifa of Rasulullah also. But his adab for Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, that how can Umar write straight when in between is Abu Bakr? Eh? Siko, learn. We should learn. Okay? There's always been a chain. Follow the chain. Otherwise you're going to get lost. Okay? He used to write the Khalifa of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. But this became a bit long to write also. Although he wrote this. But it was long to write and long to say. When it would be written or said. Longer than saying Khalifa of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And he used to do this. And one day, during his reign of Khilafah, Hazrat Umar Farooq radiallahu anh sent a message to the governor of Iraq, and he said, send me 2 people that are responsible. I have some work for them. And at that time, Lubayd ibn Rabi'a and Adi ibn Hatim were sent. Lubayd ibn Rabi'a and Adi ibn Hatim were sent. When they came from Iraq to Medina, the first place that they went to was the Masjidun Nabawi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And obviously that was where the Rawza Mubarak of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is, and that was where the entire affairs of Medina and the world were taken care of by Hazrat Umar Farooq at that time. So they went to Masjid Nabawi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and when they went to Masjid Nabawi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the first person that they met was Hazrat Sayyiduna Umar ibn al-As radiallahu anhu. They met Hazrat Umar ibn al-As radiallahu anhu. And when they met Hazrat Sayyiduna Umar ibn al-As radiallahu anhu, they said, we have come to meet the Ameerul Mu'mineen. This is the first time this word was used, and it was used for Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu. We have come to meet the Ameerul Mu'mineen. When Hazrat Sayyiduna Umar ibn al-As radiallahu anhu heard this, he said, Qasam by Allah, Quda ki qasam. He said, I swear an oath by Allah, you have given such a beautiful title to Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu. You have given such a beautiful title to Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu. So he went immediately to Hazrat Umar Farooq to announce the arrival of them. And when he went and he said, Assalamu alaikum ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. He went and he said to Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu, Salam to you, O leader of the believers. And Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu turned and said, where did you find this title from? From where did you get this title for me? And he explained about the people that had come from Iraq. In other words, Adi bin Hatim, etc. And gave this is what they said, and they addressed you this. And I liked it. And he said to Hazrat Umar Farooq, why shouldn't it be so? We are all mu'min. We are all believers. And you are Amir. And you are a leader right now. So why not Amirul Mu'mineen? So Umar radiallahu anhu, from today you are Amirul Mu'mineen. From today we will regard you as Amirul Mu'mineen. And from this day on it was also written with the name of Hazrat Umar, Amirul Mu'mineen. So the title of Amirul Mu'mineen first came in the court of Hazrat Sayyiduna Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. This is that Umar. Now we're talking about the name of Umar Farooq. Lengthy discussion. As I said, I'm going to try and finish on time. 2 minutes time, I'll be done. Hazrat Sayyidina Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu says, the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, who said? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, I was seated in the courtyard of my masjid. Where Rasul Pak was seated? I was seated in the courtyard of my masjid. And I was in conversation with Jibreel. I was seated in the courtyard of my masjid and I was in conversation with Hazrat Jibreel Amin alayhi salatu wasalam when Umar entered. When Umar radiallahu anhu entered. And when he entered, on seeing him, Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam said, Ya Rasulullah, is this your brother Umar? Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, is this your brother Umar? But Umar Farooq in his life never said the Nabi is like my brother. He said he is my Akka, he is my Mawla, he is my master, I am his abd, I am his slave, I am his servant. But look at what Jibreel is saying as love and honor of Abu Umar. He said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, is this your brother Umar? Huzur sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to Hazrat Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam, Rasul Pak himself says, I said, indeed he is my brother in deen. Indeed he is my brother in deen. Then Huzur Akram Noori Mujassam sallallahu alayhi wasallam said to Jibreel Amin alayhi salatu wasalam, tell me, is he known by any special name in the sky like he is known on the earth? In the Malaika. Is he known by any special name in the sky like he is known on the earth? And Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam said, I take a qasam by Allah. Ya Rasulullah, I take a qasam by Allah who sent you the true word. I take a qasam by Allah who sent you with the true word, that his name in the sky is more famous than his name on the earth. Umar's name in the sky, Umar's name in the sky is more famous than it is on the earth. He said that his name in the sky is Farooq. His name in the sky is Farooq and his name on the earth is Umar. So this name Farooq is the name by which the Malaika call Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. This is that Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And not only that, it has been stated that Hazrat Sayyidina Ammar ibn Yasir radiallahu anhu says that Huzur sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, since we're talking about Jibreel, whole lot of narrations to explain today, time does not permit, I'm going to stop here and continue next week, inshallah. Hazrat Ammar ibn Yasir radiallahu anhu says, what does he say? That Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, that Jibreel alayhi salam came to me. I want you to listen with your heart. Hazrat, if you listen to this riwayat with your heart, indeed your heart will burst with love. And you will not dare befriend those people who slander any Sahabi of the Nabi. And you falsely use the names of Mawla Ali radiallahu anhu to slander Hazrat Abu Bakr and Hazrat Umar. Hazrat Sayyiduna Umar ibn Yasir radiallahu anhu says that Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and this is not from my pocket, Hazrat Imam al-Suyuti radiallahu anhu quotes this with detail. Hazrat Ammar ibn Yasir radiallahu anhu says that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Jibreel alayhi salam just came to me. Jibreel alayhi salam just appeared to me. So I said to Jibreel alayhi salam, "Oh Jibreel, relate in my presence the merits of Umar." Our Nabi is saying, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, "Oh Jibreel, you praise Umar in front of me. Tell me about Umar." "Oh Jibreel, present before me the merits of Umar." Hazrat Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, Jibreel said to me, Jibreel alayhi salam said to me, "Ya Rasulullah, if I were to speak about the merits of Umar, it would be more than the time that is required for that." If I were to speak, I'm being brief about it, the gist. If I were to speak about the merits of Umar, I'm asking you, how long do you think it will take to explain the merits of Umar? 1 week? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? 1 month? 2 months? To speak about anybody's merits. So Hazrat Jibreel Amin salatu salam is being said by Rasulullah Pak, praise Umar. Tell me about Umar. And Hazrat Jibreel alayhi salam says that, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, if I were to praise Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, then the amount of years for which Hazrat Nuh alayhi salam spread the deen, which is 950 years, is not sufficient for me to praise Umar. It is not sufficient for me to praise Umar, the grandness of Umar. And Ya Rasulullah, even though it is for so long, that even for 950 years, the praises and the merits of Umar cannot be completed. Umar is but one neki of Abu Bakr Siddiq. 950 years. Longer than that to praise Umar, it will take Jibreel alayhi salatu wassalam. And then he says that he is only one virtuous deed of the deeds of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu. If this is the shan of the merits of Hazrat Umar, what is the shan of the merits of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu? So think and understand that these are those beloved companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and do not listen to a single alphabet, a single letter rather, a single letter and a single word of anybody who speaks anything contrary to the beloved companions. Any Sahabi, be it Hazrat Abu Bakr, Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Osman, Mawla Ali, radiallahu anhum, or any Sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they have reached a status which till Qiyamah nobody will get. They have received a status till Qiyamah which nobody will get. You can rub your heads on the ground till Qiyamah, you will not be able to come close to that which is equivalent to the one nail of the toe of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu, or one hair on the head of Hazrat Sayyiduna Umar Farooq radiallahu anhu. Think about it. These 950 years, the chief of the angels is saying that if I had to praise him for the time that Nuh alayhi salam spread Islam, deen, 950 years, it will not complete yet the merits. But his merits, Umar himself, is but one neki of Abu Bakr Siddiq. This alone should tell us. This alone should tell us who these companions are and how cautious we need to be when we speak about them. May Allah keep us with Iman. Let us leave this world with Iman. Inshallah, next week we'll talk a little bit more about Hazrat Umar and the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah keep us with Iman. Let us leave this world with Iman. Those who are able, Allah grant them shifa, come and set